What is the margin of appreciation in international human rights law? Have you ever wondered how countries balance their own laws with international human rights? The margin of appreciation is a key concept that helps explain this balance. This legal doctrine was developed mainly by the European Court of Human Rights. It addresses how individual human rights interact with national sovereignty. When countries sign human rights treaties, like the European Convention on Human Rights, they agree to protect certain rights. However, the margin of appreciation allows these countries some flexibility in how they implement and restrict these rights. This means that national authorities can make decisions based on their own legal and cultural contexts. At its core, the margin of appreciation gives states a degree of discretion when they take actions that might limit certain rights. This discretion acknowledges that local authorities often understand their communities better than international courts. They are closer to the facts and cultural circumstances that influence these decisions. The margin of appreciation serves several important purposes. First, it balances individual rights with national interests. Different societies have various legal traditions and cultural understandings of rights. This doctrine provides the flexibility for the court to respect these differences while ensuring that the goals of human rights instruments are met. The European Court of Human Rights reviews whether a state's interference with rights is reasonable and justified. It does not impose a uniform standard across all member states. The margin of appreciation is not without limits. The court applies a variable standard of review based on the context of each case. When a wide margin is granted, the court tends to defer to the state's judgment. It will only intervene if the state's actions are clearly unreasonable or arbitrary. On the other hand, when a narrow margin is applied, the court demands strong justification for restrictions. It closely examines whether less restrictive alternatives could have been used. This flexibility allows the margin of appreciation to adapt to changing societal values. For example, in cases involving sensitive moral issues, such as laws on private consensual homosexual acts, the margin has narrowed as more countries align on protecting these rights. For law students specializing in international human rights, understanding the margin of appreciation is essential. It illustrates the tension between universal human rights norms and state sovereignty. Students learn how international courts balance respect for national diversity with the enforcement of human rights standards. The doctrine also highlights the principle of subsidiarity. This principle states that national authorities have the primary role in protecting rights. International courts act as supervisory bodies to ensure minimum standards are met. In practical terms, when studying cases under the European Convention on Human Rights, students should analyze how the margin of appreciation affects the court's reasoning. They should consider the degree of deference given to states and how evolving European consensus influences this margin. Understanding this concept is vital for grasping how international human rights law operates in a world with diverse legal and cultural traditions.